Good morning, students. Today onwards, we are going to start the present second PU students NEET cum CET coaching classes. So, as far as physics is concerned, so we are starting with the topic called vectors. See, usually in physics we deals with the physical quantities called scalars and vectors. Generally, if vector scalar is concerned, if you go to buy any sugar, so just you can go to shop and you can ask 5 kg sugar, and here we no need to mention any particular direction and all, just a numerical value can able to describe its complete information. So a physical quantity can be described completely by a numerical value alone. That physical quantity we can call it as a scalar. So, in this case, physical quantity can be described completely by a numerical value is called as the scalar. And just we can take an example. A mass of a body is 5 kg. Just if you mention a 5 kg, here no need of mention a direction and all. So in this, 5 is nothing but a magnitude and a unit, and this will completely use the information of this body. And next come to the another example. Suppose if you say a vehicle is moving, generally we can address basically two questions. So in which direction it is moving and how fast it is moving. Such kind of two questions we can address basically. So to describe the motion of a vehicle, we need to know its magnitude as well as its direction, or else we cannot describe it completely. So that type of which kind of physical quantity which is needed to give its magnitude and direction is the name called velocity vector. So vector means a physical quantity which have both magnitude and direction in addition to it, and it should also follow the laws of vector addition. Then only you can call it as a vector. For example, here you can take as a displacement, that is the shortest distance between the initial point and the final point of a given journey, and velocity, acceleration, etc. And come to this. So as we said, vector means a physical quantity which is having both magnitude and direction. It should also follow the laws of vector addition. Few of the physical quantities, even they have magnitude and direction, those physical quantities are not comes under the vectors. Why? Because they won't be follow the laws of vector addition. For example, if you are taken the so if a physical quantity having magnitude and direction is may or may not be a vector. So I can give the examples here, may or may not be a vector. Why? Because you can take the examples of, for example, time. Time is concerned, you see, time is always flows from past to present, present to future. So it has a particular direction, even it has a magnitude, but it is having unique direction. That's why we cannot call it as a vector quantity. It means it won't obey the laws of vector addition. Next, surface tension. Surface tension means, so it has magnitude and its direction is also unique. It is always tangential to the surface of the liquid. So that's why we can call this is under it won't be obey the laws of vector. So that's addition. That's why it is called as the what not vector. It is comes under the scalar only. And if you taken the current, electric current, If you observe the electric current, you see, if current I1 equal to 2 ampere, I2 equal to 3 ampere, and here the total current flowing is always I1 plus I2, that is equal to 5 amperes. Whether it is angle is theta is 30 or 40 or 60, whatever it is there. So it's always the resultant will be 5 amperes, means it won't obey the laws of vector addition. That's why electric current also comes under the scalar quantity only. So even these quantities, whatever you are observing, even they have magnitude and direction, they won't be called as a vector quantities, because the reason is they won't be obey the laws of vector addition. Next, see few of the quantities which are there, which is neither vector nor scalar, those quantities we can call it as a tensors. We are going to discuss the another physical quantity is called tensors. So a physical quantity which is neither vector nor scalar, those physical quantities are called as the tensor. For example, if you take the moment of inertia, it has different magnitudes in different direction and it's never been negative. So it has different magnitudes in different directions and it is never been negative. So it has different magnitude in different directions, means vector quantities means one particular direction, one value will be there. If direction changes, the magnitude remains changes. But here if you see, it is a different magnitude in different directions, means so it's and also it has never been negative. So this type of quantity which is there, like a moment of inertia, we won't be called it as a either vector or scalar. It is comes under the tensor. So it is counted as a vector as well as scalar. Or else we can take a few of the quantities like stress, strain, or a dielectric constant, or else the refractive index. These are the quantities are there. These quantities in isotropic solids, these quantities, stress or strain, dielectric constant, refractive index, these quantities in all directions, those values are remains same. Then we can say these quantities are called scalars in which type of solids, means in isotropic solids. So they have same value in all directions. So these quantities we called as a scalars in which particular medium, is in isotropic solids. But if you comes under the anisotropic solids, this stress, strain, dielectric constant, refractive index, these values keep on changes. So direction, particular directions it has some value, in other directions value going to be changed. That's why these quantities we can call as a tensors in medium name called anisotropic solids. In different directions, different values will be there. Values. That's why it is called as the tensors. So in anisotropic solids. Next, we are going to discuss the next concept called how to represent a vector mathematically, geometrically, and as well as next we are going to discuss the how many types of vectors are there. So what are the types of vectors? Those discussion will be there. The representation of vector. Mathematically, the vector can be represented by a letter, a capital letter. You can use a letter and by mentioning an arrow over it. So this is the generally mathematical representation of a vector, and its magnitude, if you want to represent magnitude, you can represent with a modulus. So this will use the magnitude, and this is mathematically a vector. Or else you can write a bold letter, that is also used as a vector. Next, geometrically, if you want to how to represent the vector is, geometrically vector can be represented with a arrow. So it is the initial point of the vector. This is called as a tail, and this is head, and it is the gives the direction, and this is the initial point, and this head indicates the direction of vector, and this length of the vector indicates the magnitude. So generally geometrically we can represent the vector by an arrow. It has initial point is a tail, and the arrowhead is the direction, and mathematically we represent with a letter, any letter. So alphabet with a bar over it. Next, we want to represent the direction, the vector. For example, if you take this is north, south, east, west. If you want to represent the directions of vector, let us suppose here one vector is there, which is makes an angle 30 degrees with east, and it has 3 units. Then we can say this type of vector magnitude is 3 units and direction is 30 degrees due north of east. 3 units, direction is due north of east. And let us suppose one more example. If you take one more vector, let us have one more vector like this. This is some 5 units vector is there, and it makes some 45 degrees with west. Then we can mention like this. This is the vector 5 units magnitude, and its direction is due north of west. It is 5 units due north of west. Or else if you have one more vector like this, it is some 30 degrees, 6 units. We can understand this is, we can write as a, see, north of east. So which direction is making angle? So that you have to write north of east. Here also it is making an angle 45 degrees with west. That's why we are calling as a north of west. In the same way here, you can mention this direction is due what? West of south. It is due west of south. What is the angle here? 30 degrees due what? West of south. Here 45 degrees due north of west. Here 30 degrees due north of east. So like this we can able to represent the directions. Next, we can go for the types of vectors. See, we are going now different types of vectors. So before going to this, just we are going to give a small point. If a vector is displaced parallel to it, so it won't be changed. For example, if vector a bar is there, if you displace parallel to it, having the same magnitude, just if you displace parallel to it like this, that is b bar and c bar. Just this vector only displace it to here and this vector only displace it to here parallelly. So if you displace a vector parallel to it itself, then the vector will not be going to change. Then you can say these vectors all are same, a bar equal to b bar equal to c bar. And also one more thing, if a vector is rotating, if you take a coordinate system, if a vector is there like this, a bar vector, so you are rotating this vector either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, and the rotation angle, if it is an integral multiple of, if vector is rotated by n into 2 pi, theta equal to n into 2 pi, where n is equals to 1, 2 and so on, integral multiple of 2 pi, that vector does not changes. So vector is remains same, the vector does not changes. Now we are going to discuss the types of vectors. See, we are going to discuss the types of vectors. In this, the first one is equal vectors. The meaning of equal vectors is, so the vector which have same magnitude, even the same direction, and those two vectors should represent the same physical quantity. For example, if you take a one force vector, another one velocity vector, means even they have same direction, same magnitude, they won't call it as a equal vectors because they represent two different physical quantities. So same magnitude, same direction, and even they should represent the same physical quantity, then only we can call it as a equal vectors. Let us suppose we can take here a bar and b bar. You see these are magnitude wise same as well as direction wise same, and they are also representing the same physical quantity. That's why those two vectors are, we can call it as a equal vectors. Next comes under the second one, parallel vectors. You know, parallel vectors meaning it has the same direction, and the thing is magnitude of another vector. Suppose if you take a bar and b bar, if you take the a bar and b bar, magnitude of one vector is a scalar multiple of the magnitude of another vector. So a bar and b bar if you have taken, b bar is scalar multiple of a bar magnitude. Then we can say these two are, even they are representing the same direction. Just what we are doing here, first vector how much magnitude is there, that magnitude we are multiplying with some scalar quantity. Then direction won't be changed, only magnitude is going to be changed. That's why these two vectors we can call it as a parallel vectors. Next, anti-parallel vectors. So parallel vectors means we taken that in the same direction. In anti-parallel means, you know, they are in opposite direction, and as well as magnitude of one vector, same it is repeated. The magnitude of one vector is a scalar multiple of magnitude of another vector. Suppose if you take a bar vector and another one is b bar vector, see these two directions are opposite, and the b bar vector is a scalar multiple of magnitude of the a bar vector. Then these type of vectors we will call it as a anti-parallel vectors. And next one, collinear vectors. You know, collinear means the vectors which are represented in the same directions. See the vectors a bar and b bar you have taken, either they represent in the same direction or else they are taken parallel to each other. So the vectors which are in the same direction and the vector which is represented parallel to each other, such kind of vectors we are called it as a collinear vectors. Next we are going to another vector name called zero vector, or else we are also call it as a null vector. The vector whose magnitude is 0, that kind of vector we will call it as a zero vector or null vector. and its direction is arbitrary, means its direction is does not known to us. That such kind of vector we can call it as a zero vector or null vector. Example, we can say the velocity vector of a body which is at rest. So we know if it is a body at rest means its velocity is 0. So the velocity vector of a body which is at rest means we are calling it as a 0 vector. And another one, if vectors, two vectors, if you take an A and B, if those two vectors are equal vectors, then if you take the A bar minus B bar means you will get a 0 vector. So, or else you can say the acceleration of a body which is moving with constant velocity. If a body is moving with constant velocity means its acceleration vector is, we can also call it as a 0 vector. Why? Because constant velocity means acceleration is 0. Next, unit vector. So, what is the meaning of unit vector? Means the vector, in the name you can understand, the vector whose magnitude is 1, or else the ratio of a given vector to its magnitude, the ratio of given vector to its magnitude is called as the unit vector. What is the importance of this one is, it is used to specify the direction. It is used to specify the direction of a vector. Let us suppose A bar is a given vector if you take it as a bar. So A bar by its magnitude is called as a unit vector. And how can we represent this unit vector? Means A cap or hat we can say. A cap is a unit vector, and also we can say this unit vector magnitude is 1. So a unit vector means whose magnitude is 1. And or else you can also write a vector, generally you can write like this. A vector A bar is there, its modulus A means its magnitude, and unit vector A cap means it gives the direction. So if it is a vector is there, so it has a magnitude and the direction will be represented with unit vector, that is A cap. Next we are going to discuss the next one, orthogonal unit vectors. Orthogonal unit vectors means I cap, j cap and k cap are called as the orthogonal unit vectors, and they should follow the right-handed triad. What is the meaning of this right-handed triad? Means if you use your right hand and if you curl it from I to j, means x to I to j, if you curl it, you should get the another vector. Means I to j, if I curl it, I can get the k cap, and otherwise if I curl it from j to k, I can get the I cap, or also if you curl it from I to k, you can get the j cap, like this. So if you curl it the right hand from one vector to another vector, we have to get the thumb should indicate the another vector. So that which is following that, those are, we can call it as a, they are following the right-handed triad. And to represent the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, we have the unit vectors I cap, j cap and k cap. And these, you know already, these are the directions, means those are unit vectors on whose magnitudes are 1. I cap means the vector x bar by modulus of x, because you know the definition of unit vector means given vector by its magnitude. Similarly, j cap, k cap are y bar by modulus of y, z bar by modulus of z. So I cap, j cap or k cap are used to indicate the x direction, y direction as well as the z direction. Let us suppose you have a magnitude of a vector. Let us suppose a body is moving with 3 meters per second along x-axis. If a body is moving with 3 meters per second along x-axis, means we know its magnitude and we want to represent in a vector form. So magnitude and which direction it is moving here is along x-axis. That's why we can write as a v bar is equals to magnitude, and to represent the x-axis which unit vector we have is I cap. So we are multiplied with I cap, 3 I cap. Another one is if you have position of a particle. So here one particle is there in xy plane. whose coordinates are 3, 4. It's a vector form. How can you write this position vector? Means here the 3 units, position is 3 units along x-axis, 4 units along y-axis. That's why its position vector can be written as 3 units along x-axis means 3 into direction of x-axis I cap plus 4 and direction of y-axis j cap. So this is the position vector of this particular point. Like this, we can use the orthogonal unit vectors I cap, j cap and k cap to represent the directions. So next we are going to discuss the negative vector. So what is the meaning of negative vector is, suppose a vector whose magnitude is same but its direction is opposite. The meaning is, suppose if any one vector is there, so we have the another vector which is having the same magnitude but the direction is quite opposite to the given vector, means this vector we can call it as a negative vector of the first vector. Means here a bar is a vector is there which is towards the right hand side, and b bar is another vector which is having the same magnitude but it is in quite opposite, means left hand side. Then b bar is nothing but a negative vector of a bar we can call. So a vector whose magnitude is same and its direction is reverse means we can call it as a negative vector of that given vector. Next we are going to discuss the polar, or also we can call it as a real vector. So you know the vectors like displacement, velocity, force. If you are applying a force over the body, that force acts along a straight line direction. So they produce a linear, straight line linear effect. So even if you take a displacement, that is the straight line from initial point to the final point. And if you take a velocity, that is also along the straight line effect. So force, it is a straight line. So such kind of vectors which produces straight line linear effect, such kind of vectors we will call it as a polar or real vectors. So examples we are discussing just now, that is a displacement, velocity, force, all these are comes under the polar vectors. So other we can also call it as a real vectors which produces the straight line effect. And these polar vectors if acts on a body and if that body rotates about an axis, that time what is the effect produced by this polar vector? That effect gives a new vector. That vector we will call it as a axial or pseudo vector. And we see they act, polar vectors acts along a straight line. But you see in the name itself you can understand axial vectors means whenever a polar vector is applied, for example you see here force is applied over the body. So the body is rotated about its axis. So this force produces a torque over it. And what about its torque direction? The torque is a rotational effect of this polar vector called force. So this torque is called as the axial or pseudo vector, so which is acting along an axis. So what is a pseudo vector or axial vector? Means actually in this direction no real vector will be there, but we are imagining it acts along the axial direction. That's why it is imagining it is acting along axial. That's why we are calling it as a pseudo. Pseudo meaning is imaginary. So the rotational effect of a polar vector. See, we taken the force. Force is a polar vector. This force producing torque. Torque is a axial vector. So the rotational effect of a polar vector gives a new vector. The vector is what now? Torque. The torque is we can call it as axial or pseudo vector. So the rotational effect of force is a torque. Like that, if a rotational effect of linear momentum will produces the angular momentum. Like that, polar vector which is produces the rotational effect, then we have a new vector that name called axial or pseudo vectors. So these are the types of vectors. Next we will start discussing the how to represent the angle between the vectors now. So now we discuss the representation of angle between the vectors. Let us suppose you take two vectors. One vector is a bar and another vector is B bar, B bar. And if these vectors are there like this, if the angle between the vectors is theta, if angle between the vectors is theta, so while representing the angle between the vectors, you should follow the one condition that, so here the first vector head, at the first vector head, second vector tail is there. So this theta we should not call as the angle between the vectors A bar and B bar. What is the procedure to know the angle between the vectors is, whenever you are representing the vector, at that time you should know that whether the tails are at the same place, or else if the tails are not at the same place, you should displace the vector parallelly to itself. So let us suppose here the tails are not at the same place. So to represent the vector, what I am doing here is the vector A bar or else the vector B bar, you have to displace it. See, here in this case I am displacing the vector A bar parallel to itself. So if I displace the vector parallel to itself, now this is A bar and this is also be A bar. Now you can understand the tail of the first vector and as well as the tail of the second vector at the same point. Then what is the angle is there between the two vectors? This is the angle we can call it as the angle between the two vectors. So you see here, this is theta, means what are the remaining angle is 180 minus theta. So this 180 minus theta is called as the angle between A bar vector and B bar vector, but it is not theta. Why? Means here you see the condition is whenever you are representing the angle, the tail of the two vectors should be at the same point. So the angle between A and B is A bar and B bar is 180 minus theta. And we may ask one more question here. Suppose if both the tails are at the same point, A bar vector and B bar vector at the same point already. Say the angle between A bar and B bar here is 60 degrees and the vector A bar and vector B bar initial points are at the tails are at the same point. But here one is 60 degrees, another one is 300 degrees is there. So in these two, which is smaller, that angle is nothing but out of these two angles, which angle is smaller, that is the angle between the two vectors. So angle between the vectors A bar and B bar here is 60 degrees. So angle between A bar and B bar here is A bar and B bar is 60 degrees. So how to represent the angle means one thing you have to understand that whenever you are representing the angle, that both the tails should be at the same point. If they are not at the same point, we have to displace the vector parallel to itself and we have to arrange tail should be at the same point. Then we have to represent the angle. So example you can see one more time, one more one. Here A bar is there, vector. Here B bar is there like this. Here both the edges are at the same point. Let us suppose here angle is some 60 degrees we take it. Here edges are at the same point. The same procedure you have to follow. So either A bar or B bar you have to displace parallel to itself. Now what I am doing here is, so this angle, the vector A bar parallelly I am displacing it to here. So parallel if I displace, so A bar parallel if I displace, it comes here. Now this is A bar and this is B bar. Now tails are at the same point. Now if you measure the angle between the two, the angle is 60 degrees because they are alternate angles. So A bar and B bar angle is 60 degrees. This is the way you have to represent the angle between two given vectors. Next, we are going to discuss the addition of vectors.